This is incredible. I cannot believe this is all for us.
And as you can see, we're not the only tourists with the same idea.
So this is our space and we're finding it to be very luxurious. You really outdid yourself this time, Gillian.
Well, we finally made it to Cartagena and we've got a whole week here to enjoy Colombia's most beautiful city.
So Cartagena really has it all. There's a gorgeous historic center, all the charming, colorful buildings, and then a spectacular location right on the Caribbean.
And no surprise, it also happens to be very touristy and very expensive.
Gracias. Now, usually we stay in a destination for a whole month, but we're only in Cartagena for a week, and it's going to be a whirlwind tour.
So buckle up. We're going to be hitting the old town, trying some Cartagena classics, and going on a mystery excursion that Stephanie doesn't know anything about.
I have to say that I'm very curious about that last one. So whenever we go to a destination that's supposed to be a little expensive, we try to be strategic about where and when we splurge.
Yeah, and if we do spend a little extra, we want to make sure we're going to get good value in return.
Yeah, well, here in Cartagena, I mean, there's really no way around it. We're going to be doing a whole lot of splurging, starting with our Airbnb.
In fact, this is our neighborhood right here. We're in Getsemani, which is kind of like an artsy hipster area these days. It has lots of colonial architecture, but also a lot of amazing street art, which makes the whole area very atmospheric. Now, we could have paid even more and stayed in the main part of the walled city, but we definitely feel we paid enough as it is, and this is a very exciting neighborhood to discover.
So I knew that this neighborhood would feel a little touristy. I mean, it's just chock full of bars and restaurants and little boutique hotels. But what I wasn't expecting is that locals still live here. So this is still an everyday neighborhood where you can get a little slice of life in Cartagena. All right, let's go see this pricey Airbnb. Hola. Hola. Gracias. So this lobby is just amazing. I mean, I could just camp out here and be very happy. By the way, if you have made it this far in the video and you're wondering who we are, I'm Stephanie, this is Gillian, we've got Jasper, little Huxley.
And we're traveling the world full time and sharing it with all of you guys as we go.
All right, here we go. So this is our space and we're finding it to be very luxurious. I mean, it's very big and open. We basically have 2 separate living rooms because of this large enclosed balcony and this giant dining room table. So since we're staying for a whole week, we'll definitely be doing a little bit of cooking, and I have to say that this is a very nice kitchen to work with. So this place is really quite sizable. It's got 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, which is really important because it's actually not just the 2 of us this time. So my father is joining us to make it a family trip. And of course, we wanted him to have the master bedroom, and we're just gonna make the best of this teeny tiny little second bedroom over here. So this place has 2 of the absolute essentials. If you're gonna be spending any amount of time in very steamy hot Cartagena, you have to have these things. First off, air conditioning, an absolute must, and then secondly, a pool. So we have a lovely little luxurious pool up on the 3rd floor, and I just know that we're gonna be spending a lot of time in there during the peak heat of day. So like we said, this place did not come cheap. It's 170 US a night, so that's 1,200 a week. And of course, here in Colombia, you could get an apartment for a whole month at the same price. But here in Cartagena, when we figured that the alternative was getting 2 hotel rooms for 3 adults, actually, we felt that it was worth the spend. So we don't do a walking tour in every single city that we go to, but we definitely wanted to do one for Cartagena. This city has a very rich and a very complicated history. We only have a short amount of time here, and we wanted to just kind of hit the ground running. So we're heading off The weather is kind of baking right now. It is so hot, but fortunately there's a giant wind, so that's going to keep us cool as we wander around and discover what the Old Town has to offer. Well, quite the start to our tour. Many warnings about not getting hustled while we're in Old Town. This is a very touristy place. So apparently the most notable thing about this particular plaza is this wonderful Botero sculpture here, and you can see which part of it gets the most attention from tourists. First impressions of this city, it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's an architectural jewel, and it's just something to contrast that with its history. So the street that we're walking along is the Street of the Inquisition, leading to the Plaza of the Inquisition. So obviously Cartagena has a very bloody, very violent history, and then you contrast that with today and how incredibly beautiful it is. So we've reached the part of the tour that covers really the saddest part of Cartagena's history, which of course is how it was used as a major port in the slave trade. And this is in fact the very square where slaves were brought when they were being sold. So I'm really glad to be hearing the history. I think it's really important if you come to Cartagena to really understand the full story of this city and all the lives that were affected. This tour guide has shown incredible resolve to make sure that we get all the key facts about the city despite all the distractions around us. I mean, there is so much going on here, but it's been a really good tour. Ooh, gracias. So this is a drink that I have learned to just fall in love with. It's called a limonada de coco, and it's basically just lemonade and coconut milk, but it's so delicious and it's so refreshing on a day like today when the temperatures are absolutely soaring in Cartagena. Oh my God, that is bliss in a glass. I absolutely love this drink. So our main has arrived and I'm very excited to dig into this. So it's called Arroz de Mariscos. Gillian, is that? She's nodding, so that must be how you say it. So it's rice with a seafood stew kind of mixed in, and you can definitely see it's got lots of fish, lots of seafood. I see some mussels, I see some shrimp, and then the whole thing is done up in what looks like a really savory tomato sauce. So I'm excited to dive in. I may not tackle the fishtail immediately. I think I'm gonna start with some of this delicious looking rice and the shrimp. Wow, that is amazing. So it's really savory. That tomato is just such a great combination with the seafood and the rice. So this food is definitely quite a change from what we've been having since we first got to Colombia. We've had a lot of rustic, simple kind of farm meals, really delicious. This is completely different. It's got these Caribbean flavors, it's got the tomato. And of course, since we're in Colombia, you gotta have your plantain with basically every single meal. This one's so good. Really sweet, fried, crispy. Perfect to go with all of this.
Well, that seafood meal was delicious, but now we're ready for something sweet, and we've come down to Portal de los Dulces, and as you can see, we're not the only tourists with the same idea, but we're gonna go take a look, and I'm sure we're gonna find something absolutely delicious. Una cocada de piña, por favor. Well, I decided to go with a cocada, which is a classic treat, but I've actually never tried it before. So it's made of coconut and sugar, of course. And this one I went with also has pineapple, which I heard is very delicious. So let's give it a try. Well, it's definitely sweet and very coconutty, which I love. This one, I think we're gonna be able to share this and be very satisfied.
Oh my goodness, I think Gillian really underplayed the amount of sugar in this thing. It's like real solid sugar with coconut, yes, with pineapple, yes, but definitely sugar The sweet is the dominant flavor.
Well, we wanted to balance out that very sweet dessert with a more savory snack, so we've come to one of the most popular stands serving up fried things here in the center of town. And I went with the stuffed arepa. Now, I've had all kinds of arepas, but I haven't actually had one that's stuffed before, so I'm excited to give this one a try. Well, that is very hot. It's stuffed with egg and vegetables. Absolutely savory. It's definitely the perfect counterpoint to that very sweet cocada that we had a little bit earlier. So we've seen the old town, we've tried some really great food. Next up is something totally different. We're getting on a boat to go island hopping. And what Stephanie doesn't know is that I've actually rented a private boat for the day. It's kind of a special birthday for her, and I wanted it to be really memorable.
So I have no idea what's happening today. Gillian just said, get ready for a day on the water and bring along whatever you need. So I've got a ton of stuff with me, got the 2 poodles, and we're looking for a boat called Emerald something. Emerald Destiny. So let's see. No gracias. As you may have noticed, Huxley is sporting a fetching little sun visor. So please don't make him feel embarrassed about it. We found he's very sensitive to the sun, so we wanted to see if we could protect his little eyes.
What's this, Stephanie? What's pulling up?
What is pulling up? Is this all for us? This is incredible. I cannot believe this is all for us. You really outdid yourself this time, Gillian. Okay. Woo. Wow, this is so amazing. I've heard that the best way to see Cartagena is from the water, so it's all coming true.
So probably the best thing about getting out on the water for the day in the Caribbean is the chance to go snorkeling. And we've come to the Rosario Islands, which is supposed to be the top spot for snorkeling around here. And I can't wait to get into the water and check out all the ocean life. So renting a private boat's definitely a spendy excursion, but there are lots of other ways you can get out and see the islands. There are lots of group tours available that definitely lower the cost. But for us, we're celebrating a special occasion, and I thought it was totally worth it for this amazing day. All right, well, it's been a week. Final thoughts on Cartagena.
Okay. The historic center is obviously an absolute jewel. It's been so well maintained. The architecture is just magical.
But you do have to prepare yourself. I mean, there's all the tourists and then the vendors and the hawkers.
I can't even think of another place where we've experienced this level of tourism.
I mean, you literally have to fight your way through the crowds.
We could only manage it in very small bites, and then it was back to our Airbnb for a little downtime.
But the good news is that coming to Cartagena doesn't have to blow your budget.
No.
I mean, sure, our Airbnb was a little pricey, but there are loads of other options that are available, especially if you stay outside of the old town.
Yeah, definitely. And you can find great food to eat basically at every price point. And then for entertainment, you can just spend nothing and you just soak in the environment.
Or there are those free walking tours. But on the other hand, if you prefer to have a very spendy holiday, it's definitely possible here.
Yeah, and that is what we did. So I would say that Cartagena is a wonderful place for a short visit. And then you can do what we're doing, which is heading way down the coast for some low-key beach time.
Or you can see a whole different side of Colombia. I mean, we just finished enjoying a whole month in the coffee region, which was absolutely beautiful.
It's slower paced and it's way less expensive than Cartagena.
Yeah, by a lot. So you can check it out for yourself by clicking on the next video right over here.